He abolishes the law and its commandments and ordinances in his flesh because he completes the law, bringing it to an end. And the peace that he brings is a twofold peace. He brings peace between the nations. The dividing wall of hostility between the Jews and the Gentiles has been torn down. Look, remember last week I made the point about the priesthood of all believers? And that in order to be a member of the priesthood of all believers, in order to believe and be committed to the idea of the priesthood of all believers, you have to believe that the law has been removed. There just isn't another way. Because the Old Covenant law of Moses appoints priests through the tribe of Levi and the family of Aaron. And so none of us, being Gentiles, fit the bill. And so none of us, if the Old Covenant still applies, none of us can be priests. And yet the New Testament specifically, clearly and directly calls every one of us priests. How can that be? Because the Old Covenant, with its priesthood, its laws, its ordinances and commandments, is gone and done away with. Right? Here is another one of these logical conclusions. I'm going to put it here now. Here it says that we are reconciled by the cross. You are now, I'm looking down at verse 19, so then you are no longer strangers and aliens, but you are fellow citizens with the saints and members of the household of God. You are fellow citizens, saints, members of the household of God. How is that? Because the dividing wall of hostility has been removed. How was the dividing wall of hostility removed? It was removed by the abolition of the law, its commandments and ordinances. And now because the law and its commandments and its ordinances have been abolished, brought to an end, done away with, made as nothing, made void, because it's done, you can now be considered a part of the family of God. Do you believe that you are a blood-bought son or daughter of the living God? Then you must also believe that the law of Moses is dead and done and has been finished and completed and no longer applies. If you believe that in any way, shape or form the law of Moses with its commandments and its ordinances and its laws still applies in any way, shape or form, then you are not and can never be a member of the household of God or a son or a daughter of the living God. Because the Old Covenant prevents it. The law of Moses prevents it. The commandments of Moses prevents it. That had to be removed so that we could be welcomed in.